Welcome to the Strategic Targeting Podcast. Now, in order to set effective strategy, executives need good data, but in fast moving industries, that can be difficult to get. In the mortgage lending industry, for instance, a lot of the data they use is lagging and not very useful. But what if it wasn't? What if we could get more accurate data and use it in better ways to be more productive? To speak to that today, I'm going to be joined by Jorge Sauri. George has been in the mortgage industry as a technologist for decades. He's currently the founder of ZView, one of my best sources when I was a reporter, and he's going to talk to us today about how to use baseball technology for better mortgage lending. We'll talk to George right after this. George, it's great to see you. How are you?
Good to see you again, Rick. Long time.
I know it's been too long. So when you hit me with this idea, George, sabermetrics for mortgage, it set me back. I thought, what is he talking about? So explain this to us. What's the concept?
Well, the concept is in cybermetrics, the team have usually some set budget, obviously with certain exceptions like the Yankees or Boston. But the concept of cybermetrics, as they've kind of made in the movie, actually, a bit famous with the Oakland A's, was simply that if you have a set amount of budget or money, you actually want to find and measure the best performance, right, as a team, and then applied into each individual as a part of each individual within the team. So, for example, who is the most valuable individual that you want to make an investment on?
All right. Well, now we don't have anything like that in the industry today, at least mortgage lending. Is that even possible?
It is very possible because the elusive goal always is, well, the cost to close is 11,000, 12,000, some number like that. And the issue has always been, okay, how do we reduce that number? Obviously, because it would reflect into a much better ROI. The reason is that while they get a lot of information, they can run all the reports on the LOS, implement Tableau or Power BI. Essentially, they just know a snapshot of what happened, but they simply don't know why it happened and when it happened. So, for example, if you have a loan officer and potentially he brings 20 loans a month, numerically, he's at a top tier. And maybe perhaps if he's in California, of course, the volume is going to reflect him being in a top tier, if you will. But the goal is he really profitable? Number one, is the product that he is bringing in, the product mix that the lender is trying to achieve for maximum profitability? And it's the team that is servicing that LO, closing, funding, post-closing, processors, etc., have the right skill set to be able to maximize the profit of that loan. So you could either maximize your profit or reduce spending. But usually what they do is companies get caught in this more volume and will increase staff, and then less volume and then will reduce staff. And essentially what happens is that when you do that, you actually create a lot of pockets of inefficiency in your operations. So usually LOSs, do not reduce those pocket of inefficiency. The pocket of inefficiency has to be done by having the proper team member with the proper skill sets, something we call PECs, which is proficiency, efficiency, knowledge, and skills applied to the operational costs, which then will give you your profit costs.
Interesting. Very good. Now, normally my next question is, why is this important now? But with the changes in mortgage volume we've seen over the last 12 months, it's obvious that lenders are trying to figure out how to right size, who to keep, who to let go, maybe who to hire that they don't already have. Why else is this important for lenders to be thinking about right now?
I think this is very important for lenders because essentially they want to have a real time scorecard on a loan level basis, right? So if you are getting some type of real time notification on a particular loan that is going through the system, and now that loan is trending red, right? Red light meaning that it's going to be perhaps greater than, right, the cost to close of an industry average. You want to know immediately why, right? You either want to talk to the loan officer or talk to the processor or the team members to find out at that particularly loan level, right? Not necessarily at the macro, because the reports at the macro level is kind of telling you, right, as a whole how the company is doing. But essentially the whole is always made of a lot of individual loans, and correcting as you go an individual loan, right, just like a manufacturing plant does, right? They actually, when they implement just in time inventory or just in time productivity, what they're doing is they're actually correcting the operations as they go along. So over the course of multiple quarters, they will see the trend line in the cost to close start to drift down.
Right, but if it takes multiple quarters to make a correction in your business, that's not really very strategic. That's kind of a tactical approach that could leave them in. And that's really the next question. What are the risks if lenders don't really take this seriously right now?
I think the risk is that in a slow environment, or in a right where there's not, accelerated growth, there's not a lot of velocity in the availability of loans to be had in any given month, right? I think that the risk becomes twofold, right? They don't know if they have the right team in place to deal with whatever marketing initiative they might do, right? So whether it's the wholesale channel, correspondent, retail, online, it really does not matter. They're not taking what commonly is known as RevOps, right, or revenue operations monitoring. And by having some real-time revenue operations monitoring, then it would allow them to not only bend the coast close to cost curve, but also as they decide whether they're going to do some staff layoff or some staff augmentation or even some swapping of that, they can actually start finding the best fit for that.
Awesome, George. That was going to be my next question. Now, I, having known you for years and used you as an expert source on many of the articles I've written for the trade press, I know you don't talk to me about technology that you haven't seen yet. So I'm guessing ZView already has tools that can help lenders do this. Talk to me about the advantages that lenders will see if they embrace this now.
What SetView has developed is a notion of what we call a data cube. And a data cube is be able to, through the use of machine learning and AI, and obviously in the lending industry, natural language processing, is to take all the relevant data, including the employee data, right, the base employee data, and we have developed a series of algorithm that generates a ongoing loan scorecard. So as you move the loan, for example, you originate the loan, you have an app. Now you go from app from one stage, app created, to another stage, in loan processing. Now the loan is being processed. We actually have an ongoing, like that cybermetric example. We have an ongoing scorecard at that loan level, right? That is telling you, we can simplify it as, green, yellow, and red, where green, you're either at average or better than average of the industry on a cost to close. Or yellow, hey, caution, here's some prescriptive outputs that should tell you should be able to next time look at these items in order to improve, right, to get you to the green. Or red is that, hey, you're going to be, quite over the curve on this particular loan. So it's really more of a performance and cost monitoring tool, but and rather at a macro level, it's more at a loan level or a micro level, right? As each loan goes through its stages, it takes the totality of the operations, right? The team working on it, on that particular loan, and then the operation cost to support the origination and the funding of that particular loan.
Wow. So make sure I'm hearing you right. Instead of waiting for 30 days after the loan closes to do an analysis and find out what went right and what went wrong, every time a loan officer comes up to bat with a new borrower, you're going to be able to know as they go whether they're going to get a home run or not.
Yes, that is correct. One of the
Wow.
strengths of machine learning, of course, AI is everywhere, if you will. But one of the strengths of machine learning is actually, ironically enough, very powerful to be implemented in the mortgage industry, right? Because one, they obtain a lot of data. Two, the data is fairly measurable as long as the lender can make it available, right? So the data becomes fairly measurable. And then three, we know what the industry standard is, right? So the MBA says, okay, right, the close to cost loan is $12,000, right? We can take their word of that, use that as the benchmark, and then the machine takes it from there, right? You run all the predictive and prescriptive algo, and the machine, of course, will do what we term as unsupervised learning. We tune the machine, if you will, to get to those outcomes.
Fantastic. George, how can people find out more about what you're doing?
Sure, they can always contact me. It's Jorge, Jorge, at zevue.com.